I'm Kerri.
And we are Paranormal Chicks.
Episode 26.
Woot woot.
And I have nothing to say because I told you we're getting to the stupid ages where nothing counts.
Yep, we just keep going up and up. That's okay.
Yep. Only thing next to celebrate is 30.
That's right.
And then we'll go, fuck, we're in our 30s. I cried when I turned 30.
I didn't. I was like, bring it on.
And you know I'm usually the one that's like, when you ask me how old I am, I always say a year older.
Yeah.
Like, age doesn't matter. But God, man, when I turned 30, I was a basket case.
Not me.
I think, too, because I was in grad school, living with my parents.
Yeah.
You know, like, everything had gone backwards from, like, living on my own and all of that, and then moved back in with my parents, and then I turned 30, and I was like, oy vey. So I just felt like my life was going backwards instead of forwards, even though I was doing the steps to keep it going forwards, like grad school, but it felt like, whatever, anyway.
Oh, my God, can you say it one more time? It felt like it was going backwards instead of forwards?
I hate you. It was going backwards.
Backwards. Oh, gosh.
Oh, I know what else.
Okay.
We have 2 new Patreoners.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Jessica P., I got to tell you, your husband showed you some serious love.
Yes.
When he signed you up, he was like, and can y'all please just make sure to tell her how awesome she is?
Yes. So,
Jessica, you are awesome. Thank you for signing
loved.
up. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we have Jacqueline H.
She gets bonus episodes, gets to pick the topic.
Yep.
Bloopers.
Yes, girl. If you have not listened, go listen. Kim, I told her to go listen, and she was like, oh my God, I snorted.
That's funny. Will does a good job with this.
Yes, he does. I mean, he's pretty much like the Wizard of Oz.
Will is like, has a fucking lifesaver.
Yes. If we were on the Titanic, he would have let us get on his door.
He would have said, oh, I can just scoot over.
Yeah.
Then he would have been like, this bitch. Because, I mean, one time I went paddleboarding and I couldn't stand up on it. And every time I fell off, the guide had to, like, stay with me because it was bad. Who can lift themselves up on a paddleboard in the middle of the fucking ocean? Not this girl. It was hard. I would, like, heave to get up there. And, like, the guide would, like, have to hold the paddleboard flat because I would, like, topple it over, just, like, fall backwards back into the water because I had no core strength, no upper body strength, and nothing to push off of other than deep blue ocean.
And that shark swimming underneath you.
Thinking I'm a seal. You know, they say that that's why sharks eat surfers, because the surfboard looks like a seal to them with their shitty eyes. I learned you something today.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I watched Shark Week. I'm just kidding. I don't actually.
Something else that's exciting as Kerri getting up on a paddleboard is we had an impromptu live, and we opened some mail that we got to our P.O. box. So thank y'all for that.
The live was in the Facebook group, not on the Facebook page.
Yeah. So thank y'all so much for all of the good stuff, and I did not put any of the promo codes up yet, but I will do that.
Oh, God, I forgot.
Yes, we had a crazy packed weekend, but there's this guy, Philip, who is on one of our lives, so shout out, Philip.
No, he's been on...
I know, he's been on a few,
okay.
But he was on one, and I thought he was Kim's boyfriend.
Because they signed on, like, at the same time.
And I was like, hey, Kim. Oh, and I was like, hey, Philip. Oh, that's Kim's boyfriend. And then I was like, or fiance. And she was like, no, his name's Rick. And I was like, oh, shit. Hey,
oh,
Philip.
God, it was so fucking funny.
Yeah, it just went on from there. Well, anyway, fast forward. Yeah, like, I mean, you know me. I'm a dog with the fucking bone. I'm just going to keep going on it. And so anyway, fast forward to this live, and we're talking about Kerri, and how did it even come up?
I don't know.
But it was because he said, did you get the underwear I sent you? And you said, only if it's used. And then I was like, Kerri doesn't even wear underwear. And so that just went on. And he said, you have to air out her Dybbuk box. Oh, my God. And then, of course, I had to take another step. And I said, there might be a demon in there, but there ain't no dick.
Damn.
Oh, God.
I was just getting slammed all over the fucking place in this live.
Uh-huh, but not where you wanted.
I mean, my box ain't getting slammed. I just had to open them. Too far. Too far. Also, one more thing to talk about before we get to the good. While everybody's here. So, we are working on new merch.
Yes.
That will be ready in time for Halloween. And all of y'all posting all of your pictures wearing the merch is like, y'all are so freaking cute.
Yes.
I love it.
Mm-hmm,
The colors y'all picked out are so cute.
I know.
So, I'm Jilly.
Yes. And if you want to be on our Instagram, because we put it under our merch highlight, just tag us in it, and we will put it in there.
Yeah, we can do it on our story.
Uh-huh.
That's what you mean when you said merch highlights? I don't really understand the Instagram.
Oh, gosh. But, yeah, so we love to see y'all. And
so you can get to our merch store through our website, aparanormalchicks.com.
Or you can go to store.aparanormalchicks.com.
That place, too. Okay, you go first. I don't know why I sang it.
So, first off,
I'm the realist.
Yes. Whatever happened to her?
She went off the thing because I think she got, not in trouble, but like, she couldn't write her own shit. And so Nicki Minaj was like, fuck you, Pleasant.
Okay. So, first off, I'm going to talk about some rules when playing with the Ouija board because I left those off last time.
Oh.
I mean, hopefully no one played with it because of the stories. So, they were like, oh, maybe I shouldn't play with it.
No, they were probably like, oh, fuck, a demon? No, thank you.
Yeah. However, just want to let y'all know if y'all are going to play, there's some rules.
Okay.
Okay, so it's important to never taunt or goad a spirit using the thing, which Hiller, bedazzled boo, he always fucking does.
Which is like why he gets possessed and gets angry.
Then never ask a Ouija board when you're going to die.
Oh, because they'll say, no, motherfucker.
That'd be a long time. I'd be like, N-O-W.
Oh, true, they don't talk to you. Maybe they would shorten it and actually be like, motherfucker.
M-F-er.
Damn, they know slang.
Fish belly.
Oh, stop it.
It says also to remember that spirits who talk to you through your Ouija board can tell you anything they fucking want.
Well, yeah.
So just because a spirit says something does not mean it's true. It will try to win your trust by telling you, hey, yeah, I'm a long-lost relative. I'm your grandma. And, be like, got you, MFer?
Yeah.
Like, hooked on you. Ride home on your fucking shoulder. Okay. Also, it says never to use a Ouija board alone.
Which you told us.
It says the more people you have with you, the better, because it means the more energy is present to connect with the spirit that you want. And it said also, if everyone's not comfortable to sit there and touch the planchette, they can watch, but it's still their energy that is helping. Do not use a Ouija board in your home. If you do connect with a mean spirit, the energy will be in your home, and it'll be harder to break the contact. One person in the group should be a leader, and it's the person that will ask the questions. That person should not ask joke questions and, like, again, taunt and goad.
No, fuck that. No.
It says if you are using the Ouija board and you're not the leader, you should keep your fingers on the planchette and remain silent. No one should laugh or ask whether it's working. Because that's, like, is it going to work? Is it working? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because that's totally what I would say.
Yeah.
Did you move that?
Yeah. It said this is negative energy which interferes with the process. Do not try to decipher the words. as the planchette moves, your role is to close your eyes and focus on the planchette. That's why you have
someone else writing it down. Well, how are they supposed to see which letter it landed on?
I mean, hopefully they're close.
They better have good eyesight.
Be like, okay, it landed right here. And then it moves and it's like E. I don't know. I've never done it.
Me neither.
You don't want to.
Mm-mm. You got other friends?
I don't. Marley? This is a big one. Don't leave the planchette on the board. When you're done using the board, remove it. Even if you're just leaving the room for a bit, it's considered bad luck to leave it on the board.
Why would you be leaving the room anyway? Because you can't break the circle.
Right. But
yeah,
they're saying even if you leave, in the session, don't just leave it there.
Say goodbye and then do it. Yeah. Put that shit on a shelf.
Mm-hmm. And here's with this. If you want to take a break, have one person keep their hand on the planchette and stay connected to the energy that you've built.
Because you know what would happen.
You'd have to pee.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Mm-hmm. Then, always in your session by saying goodbye, and that's sliding the planchette to the word goodbye.
And then right up off that fucking board.
Yep. This says the location that you should use would be ideally dark and free of background noise, and you would need, candle to light the board. Girl, I could not see that and be like, what is that? What?
Mm-hmm. You know how in, movies and stuff, there's always the old guy or woman that's like, what did he say? That's what I would be like, what did it say?
Yeah.
I can't see it. Can I get my phone flashlight?
You'd be like, I need subtitles.
Oh, God, you know I need some subtitles. Always.
Oh, my gosh. Y'all, on Sundays, we have APC watch party that anyone can join. And we have to put subtitles on for Kerri.
True story. I'm not the only one that does it that watches with subtitles. So.
No, I mean, you got me watching it now.
Nothing is on my TV that doesn't have subtitles.
I don't watch it during, TV.
Every single thing I watch has subtitles on.
Mm-mm.
I can't fucking hear. I mean, I can hear it, but it's I can't understand it. And it's usually the background music, because I'm 100. The background music is too loud, so I can't hear the words. And then if they got an accent, I need subtitles.
You are Dorothy.
With a splash of Sophia.
Mm-hmm. If a spirit starts communicating with you through the board by counting down or going through the alphabet, immediately end the session by saying goodbye. And that means, that's a common thing if you're speaking to a mean spirit, a bad spirit, a demon.
What? I wonder why.
I don't know.
No, I know. I mean, it's just damn, I wonder.
Oh, and this one I would never do. It says, do not use a Ouija board in a cemetery. No thanks.
I mean, I can see why some dumbasses would think that was a good idea. No, I'm just kidding.
Unless you do it and you're not dumb, but you are very risky.
I know. I'm just kidding about the dumbass. But, I mean, I can totally see why that would be, something you would want to do because it's full of spirit.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Or, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I totally can see why somebody would do that. But
I can also see, who I feel like they're really talking to you. They're not talking to the Courtneys here who are well-versed in this. I feel like that's really speaking to
the dumb teenagers who are, being inconsiderate and, rude to the...
Yeah. Ooh, let's go do this and let's drink
in the cemetery. That was weird.
Okay. It also says, if you're experiencing depression, it may be good to avoid using the Ouija board because that kind of energy draws mean spirits.
Well, see, right there. We can never use it then.
Also, never burn a Ouija board. This can do more damage than simply leaving it untouched in a closet. If you're having problems with the Ouija board, store the planchette and board separately. But which they said to really... No, I guess they said, don't leave it out.
On there, yeah.
All right, so now that we got that out of the way, you know what to do, what not to do, as much as I could tell you. But you have free will, so do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Just don't fucking bring that shit to my house.
All right. So now we're going to get into my story.
Okay.
So this goes hand in hand, obviously, with the Ouija board since I brought that back up.
I thought it was just like a correction.
Well, it's an add-on. But
an addendum, if you will.
Yes. I didn't want it to be like 4 hours long like that one podcast episode we did. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll break this up.
Okay.
Because it needs its own anyway.
Okay.
But this is about a Ouija board demon. And his name is Zozo.
The clown.
Sure.
Nuh-uh.
You tell him that he rhymes with bozo. You do that and you see what he says.
I'm not fucking using a Ouija board. Does he hear me anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, mama. So, who is Zozo? He is, again, And
Ouija board sounds so weird.
Yes.
When I saw that on the title of the last episode, I was like, that looks so weird. Like, every time I read it to myself, I was like, I mean, it's accurate but grammatically, but it just is awful.
Yeah, so he's a Ouija board demon.
Yeah, we'll just say A. And know that we know that we're wrong. It's just like when you say it's a 10-foot ceiling. Well, it's 10, so it's feet.
Oh.
But we say foot. He's 9 foot tall.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe that's a southern.
I don't know. Yeah, people are like, that's not what we say.
I know. I say it's a 10-foot ceiling. Feet ceiling.
I was like, wait, that's what you said.
They probably say the ceiling is 10 feet tall, where we say that's a 10-foot tall ceiling.
Yeah.
We just say it backwards.
Okay. So he is known to terrorize and possess those who come in contact with him.
So he's the Slender Man of Ouijas.
Mm-hmm. Basically. He became popular around 2009. And again, like Slender Man, he was a subject of a viral post. But this one wasn't like asking for you to like fake something. This person, Darren Wayne Evans, he wrote on a message board about paranormal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote about something and it was like, don't fuck with the Ouija.
Damn. But don't fuck with the Ouija.
Right. So those who claim to have made contact with Zozo, they say that he can go by different names, such as Zaza, Mama, Oz, Zo, Za, and Abacus.
Is this the bird from Lion King? Zazu.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Oh, God. Okay, so he often shows himself by guiding the planchette into figure 8 formation. So it would really be like infinity, because it would be sideways, you know? What?
I guess I never...
You never
it's
thought
still
about...
a figure 8 to me.
Oh.
It doesn't matter which way it goes, I didn't think.
Oh. Well, it's infinity.
But what does it mean when it's upright?
It's 8.
That's different than I mean, it's the same, but I think it's different.
Oh. And then after he does those formations, he will frantically zoom back and forth between the Z and the O, which is why some people think it's Oz.
But really, it's Zazu.
It's
just kidding.
Zozo, yes.
Yeah, just kidding.
You're kidding until you had to go home alone.
No. Shh, I'm sorry, Zazu. Zozo.
So he starts out friendly, buttering you up, you know, and then he does grow malicious. He's known to curse. He's known to threaten. And sometimes threaten personally, not just like...
In general.
Yeah, not like just K-I-L. It's like K-I-L-K-E-R-R-I.
Why does he spell kill with K-I-L? He just shorthands, drop a letter off?
Oh, did I say that? Kill.
He,
K-I-L-L.
Look, he's just trying to speed up the haunting along. Just drop a letter.
Kill Kerri. Okay, so he's often wrangled by a Ouija board, but you can contact him through other forms, like automatic writing. You know, when you contact them and they just like kind of write through you and stuff. Also, I have to put this. So I found that Zo in Haitian Creole means bone, and in another Creole dialect, it means penis. And, of course, I had to write this down because I thought about it when I did that. Well, one, bone and penis. Like, funny, boner, penis. Like, what? But then...
I'm going to bone you with my penis.
Yeah. And then I said, this means he's a dickhead demon.
Or he's a ghost dick.
Okay, so we were doing our APC watch party. We do it with Creep Mom, and she does it on
Rabbit
TV. Yeah, so she streams it, and we all just like AOL chat while we watch it. Mm-hmm. And we were watching Zach Bagans' Demon House.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like a finger or something. Remember, it looked like it was like a shadow. Mm-hmm. And they were like, blah, 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 blah. And I think Valerie might have said, it's a ghost dick.
Oh my God. And that has stuck.
Uh-huh. We talk about it all the fucking time now.
Every Sunday we talk about ghost dick.
Oh, gosh. It's so funny. So that was a good joke. And I mean, I'm just saying, Sundays are fun days. Damn. Why you had to steal my thunder?
You said it too slowly.
Fuck. I had to take a breath. Okay. So, and you didn't even laugh at my dickhead demon.
Because I was already thinking ghost dick.
Yeah, and then you had to one-up me. God, you're so good. Okay, so where did he come from? Where did he go?
Cotton Eye Joe.
Yes. Okay, so.
Isn't the Cotton Eye or something what a penis is called? Like a...
Oh my God, like a snake?
One-eyed...
It's like a cotton-head
snake. Something.
Oh my God.
Well, that was full circle. Very phallic of us. Very Freudian right there.
Golly. All right, so Darren Wayne Evans, he was the one who wrote a story talking about Zozo. He wrote it on True Ghost Tales message board, and he said, during my experiences with Ouija board, one particular spirit always seems compelled to make its presence known. Its name is Zozo. Today I refuse to even pronounce its name as I believe the mere pronunciation of it can cause it to manifest itself. Too many times to count, it has at first pretended to be a nice spirit or pretend to be whomever I was trying to contact. But eventually it shows its true self, cussing at me, and threatening others present in the room. Once it actually cussed at me using what looked like Latin or Hebrew and using biblical terminology. I was genuinely fascinated and startled by how many times Zozo showed up, even in many different states and many different Ouija boards. It always wound up being very nasty and commented freely about how it wanted to possess my girlfriends and take them to paradise. When asked what paradise was, it's spelled H-E-L-L.
Nuh-uh.
One time after Zozo was being extremely evil, I walked into my bathroom only to see my 1-year-old daughter about to drown. Her mother had left her alone in the tub just for a second, and somehow the water got turned on and was overflowing.
What?
Instinctively, she had her face tilted up and was seconds from going under when I grabbed her from the water. The next day, she was hospitalized for some weird internal infection and was put in isolation for 14 days straight as doctors tried to diagnose the illness. We almost lost her, and that was when I began to suspect demonic attack.
Damn. I feel like, though, just devil's advocate, pun not intended, that, okay, well, Donna thought that was real fucking funny. She gave me her fake laugh.
That was a demonic laugh. I was like, oh.
You're not funny.
Okay.
No. Okay. If she only left the baby for like just a minute, one, how do we know that she didn't forget and leave the water on?
Yeah.
Two, if she only left the baby for a minute, how did it fill up so quickly that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That it was about to overflow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't necessarily buy that.
Yeah, no, I'm just reading what he's saying. I know. But, yeah. Also, everyone says, I was just away for a second, and
yes,
it's always a little bit longer because it's like, oh, wait, let me do this one thing before I go back.
Right.
Whatever. Also, if he is a demon, though, I feel like he does have powers to do something more. You know
Probably.
what I mean? Like on scary movies, it always happens.
Oh, God. Because those are real.
Hey, I don't know. Just saying.
No, but I do, yes.
But also, then how can we say that maybe Zozo had possessed the girlfriend then?
True.
And that's why she
was gone so long, even.
Or she actually turned the water on because of him or whatever.
True. Could be.
So there are skeptics, of course, like you, that believe he invented the whole existence of Zozo.
Mm-hmm.
But there are earlier mentions of Zozo on the internet. There's a Nigerian forum that talks about him in 2005. And they also say that Zozo may be another name for Pazuzu. I know that sounds fake, but he is an almost 3,000-year-old demon who has the body of a man and a scorpion's tail. And he is known for being the demon in The Exorcist.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, in 1818, there was a book called the Dictionnaire Infernal. It was a French book. So, I mean, like, it has all that flair and shit, and I can't do that. But it was published, like I said, in 1818, and it was on the topic of demonology and included a list of demons. It also included an account of a young girl who was terrorized. Fucking R's.
Mm-hmm.
Who was terrorized by demons 2 years earlier. One of those demons was named Zozo. And like I said, it's believed that Roland Doe, who we've talked about, and again with The Exorcist, it's believed that he was a victim of Zozo. And again, with the Pazuzu and that whole connection.
Yeah.
Also, in 1977, there was the famous Enfield poltergeist haunting. And they believe Zozo is behind that as well because it's when two young sisters were playing with the Ouija board. So that's I'm not going to go much into detail about that because I'm actually going to do that at a later date.
Okay.
So just know, could be that. Also, I didn't write this down, but I read that they believe Zozo was responsible for, I think her name is like Doris Blyther.
Just kidding.
Blyther. And she was who was behind that movie, The Entity. And it was all about like incubus and these ghosts and stuff. I don't want to say too much about her either because she's someone I really want to do a story on.
Okay.
But he does have, I think I might mention this later, but he does have a little flirtatious side for the women. And because, you know, penis, he's all about it. And so they think that he was like she played with the Ouija board, met Zozo, and had a nightcap with, but not that she wanted to. Like she, you know, it definitely wasn't like Anna Nicole Smith who wanted to have sex with Ghost. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm. All I remember is that lady that's married to the 400-year-old
pirate. Oh my gosh, yes. But anyway, but like apparently Zozo is thought to be the cause of many different things. Again, it's after the fact, and whatever, but it's kind of like you look at a serial killer and then when you have him, you look at other things that have happened around that with the same MO and stuff.
Right.
So it's funny that you said something about Slender Man because a lot of the skeptics believe that it's like Slender Man. It's fake, but it kind of grew on its own, and maybe people do experience something, but they just say it's Zozo then.
Gotcha. And
if you want to think about that idiometer thing that I talked about, like if you're doing it and then you're like, oh my God, I wonder if we're going to get Zozo. And then your subconscious does Z-O-Z-O. And then you're like, oh, fuck. And then it just like escalates from there. And though, if you want to like, okay, this is me. I think, yeah, that's probably how it is. But then I'm like, or do you open yourself up? And so you're thinking it's Zozo, but it really is a different demon that you allow in with that energy. Like, you're
right. And he's like, yeah, I'm Zozo.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It's like chicken or egg. What came first? What's real?
Right.
I don't know. And I'm really like 50-50 down the middle on most of this stuff. Like, it's not real, but it could be blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Which again, people, please do not mess with the Ouija board if you aren't going to abide by the rules or you don't know really what you're doing.
Right.
Like, I would never just do it by myself or even just with Kerri. Like, I want someone who actually knows and appreciates the Ouija board and, like, it's not just a toy. Like, I would never just use it to, pass the time. Like, it would actually be for research for the podcast. I'm serious. Who should I do next? That's what it would be.
Oh my gosh.
And then it'd be like, you, because you did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so another thing that skeptics hold on strong to is that they say that Evans was is a huge Led Zeppelin fan. And Jimmy Page, who is the frontman, he has something on his like guitar or something that's like Zoso. And they're like, that he made Zozo up from the Zoso.
Yeah. Or he subconsciously saw that and put that together, or the lead singer of Led Zeppelin got that from something. Like, because what does it mean to that guy?
He's never revealed what it means to him personally, but I want to say, like, he was into occultism and stuff too. Mm-hmm. So you're right. I mean, you never know what someone is motivated by or what has an effect on them. Mm-hmm. So you're very true. And, I mean, Zozo has appeared before, like, in different things. So you never know. And, like we said, there's so many things that doesn't have a name.
Right.
So it's like, just because it's not written down in a book doesn't mean that it's not real.
Right. Nor does it mean that a freaking demon can't morph and change over time.
Right. Well, and I think another person, it might be later in this, but I know I read it, that they said Zozo probably is multiple demons, that over time it is someone else who starts to do that. Like, obviously, because they're going to know, like, I feel like we're in Supernatural. They watch the news. But, like, okay, well, I don't know. Now I feel like we're in Beetlejuice and they're all waiting for, like, their number and shit. And it's like, oh, someone got called up for the Ouija board. But, like, I feel like they know. They know how to manipulate.
Absolutely.
So,
which is why you don't provoke them and all those things.
Yes. He's evil. You know that he can possess you. You know all of this. But how do you know it's Zozo that you're talking to? So there's some signs. But before that, I do want to make note. It says it's also important not to use a Ouija board if you are afraid of coming into contact with Zozo or any demonic entity, as they tend to prey on people's fear. So again, you put that out and you're going to get what you're scared of, just because that's what you're keep thinking and thinking and thinking. And again, you manifest that yourself.
Right.
So here we go. Signs. Signs. Everywhere there's signs. What song is that? Is that Beatles?
I don't know.
Okay. So they say one thing is the mood and the temperature of the room may suddenly shift into coldness. Even if he doesn't directly reveal himself at first, he may continue to point to the letter Z, and again, sometimes calls himself Zaza, Mama. Like, obviously, he's a 4-letter kind of guy.
How do we know it's a he then if he refers to himself as Mama?
True. I don't know. You know what we're going to call him? The Z-Demon. Oh, it's kind of like the French thing.
Damn.
The demon. Okay, sorry. The dickhead.
The ghost dick.
That's title of the thing. Again, once he reveals himself, he will spell his name several times in a row. Like, a lot of times. Like, your hands are going to get tired.
Like, almost in a figure 8 based on where they... No, but, like, think about where they are on the board.
Yeah.
You could make a figure 8 going back and forth to the Zozo.
Yeah. Glass, especially mirrors, may break. Scratches may appear on the body of anyone in the residence, even if they're not participating with the Ouija board. So, all of those are little signs, which obviously, demonic entity, of course, like any of this could be for anything. But really, the Zozo, the infinity sign, figure 8, that is go to goodbye, close it out.
Yeah.
Like,
remove the planchette.
Yeah, watch fucking
Disney.
I was going to say Rugrats because apparently I'm still on them.
Oh, you know what? My sister texted me today and said that she listened to that episode because she was behind, and she said that she had the soundtrack on CD. Remember? Because I was like, I couldn't remember what she had.
Yeah.
She told me what I said and I was wrong, but she had the soundtrack on CD.
Again, if you make a connection with him, immediately close out your session by moving the planchette to goodbye to be safe. No one involved should use a Ouija board anytime soon. And if at all possible, vacate the space so he can't prey on any residual energy and stuff.
Which is why you don't do it in your house.
Right. I did read one, and it said sometimes he will follow you home, like you said, right on your shoulder. So I've read a little blurb, and it said, 2 nights later, I heard my dogs growling in the bedroom where I sleep, and they are staring at the door. I got up to see what they were upset at, and when I turned on the lights in the adjoining family room, I saw the table. The glass was etched with something sharp from underneath, and there was no mistaking that the letter Z was in the etching. Yeah. You can't get that shit out.
I was going to say, can you use some shaving cream or something?
I'm sorry, Ashley Furniture. I had a demon that etched in this. Is that under warranty? Or I'd be like, sell this shit on eBay.
Oh, true.
Zozo was here. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Zozo was here. 1994 was the year.
Damn.
Do people still do that?
I don't know.
On bathroom stalls?
In yearbooks?
Oh gosh, yes. Do people even still write in yearbooks?
Are yearbooks still a thing?
I don't even know.
No, I think they are. I think my nephews get them.
Because I feel like kids are too cool now to write in yearbooks.
It's digital.
Yeah. They're like, text me.
I'll just snap you.
Oh my God. I will never forget Dawson's Creek. There was this girl who was older. Her name was Gretchen. She was like Pacey's older sister or cousin or something. And I always love Pacey. But anyway.
Me too.
And again, of course, he gets a hot girl. And why would he want someone like,
Joey?
Huh?
Why would he want someone like Joey?
No, he gets Joey.
Oh, okay.
She was, like, later on, definitely. Earlier,
I was going to say, she wasn't the hot girl at the beginning.
Yeah. But anyway, so she was Pacey's cousin, sister, or something. But older. And she was with Dawson. Then he got her yearbook. I mean, nope, vice versa. Bloop, 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 bloop. He got his yearbook, and she wrote in it, like, later, which, one, she doesn't even go here.
I mean, do you even go here?
Okay. If y'all know what that is, you are our people. But she wrote in, have a bitchin' summer.
Ew.
Like, wait, you're, like, old. That's how I was in middle school. Like,
yeah.
Like, no one says that.
And don't write a cuss word in my yearbook. What if my kids want to look at it one day? I don't know.
Is that what you did?
No.
Oh, shit. But, like, have a bitchin' summer. Like, ugh, you're too old to date him. That was me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, ugh. And even though I liked Pacey, but, of course, any guy, I'm like, you're not supposed to date him.
Yeah.
God.
He's going to marry me.
Which is why I'm single now.
You're holding out for Pacey.
Yeah. Okay, I found another story, and it was called Losing Control. And this girl, April, she posted on Your Ghost Stories in 2012. She said she had recently moved in with her sister, and to celebrate, they had a few friends over. Of course, after a while, they're like, let's Ouija. You like how I just make that into a verb?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's doing it. So they wanted, like, just to ask about the afterlife. They've done it before, and nothing went wrong.
Yeah.
So they placed it on the table, and they're all, got their little fingertips on the planchette, and April is like, is anyone there? The board replied, yes. Then they said, like, reveal yourself. And it's glided over to the Z, and then the O, and then Z-O, Z-O, Z-O. And then they're like, okay, what do you want? And it replied, H-E-R. So then they're like, what do you mean by that? And it spelled out one of the names of her friend. And so April was like, I was fucking freaked out. And then, like, after they, it said the friend's name, it started spelling Z-O, Z-O, Z-O again. So then her other friend was like, ugh, why is it doing the same fucking letters,
Yeah.
And so it got worse when she started cursing at it.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
Zozo does the cussing himself.
Yeah. There's only one badass here, bitch. So then shit got bad when she cursed at it. The planchette began feeling hot under their fingers.
Ooh.
And it then started spelling out M-A-M-A. And they all felt a presence in the room. The air was heavy. Something was wrong. April said she didn't feel like herself, and she felt like something was inside of her. She said she felt nothing but hatred and anger, and began laughing and crying at the same time. Like, just her body couldn't handle all the emotions and everything. And she said that at that moment they ended the Ouija board session, but that feeling just lingered on for weeks and weeks. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I got enough going on with me right now. I don't need someone else.
Especially a demon.
Yeah. And I'm already fucking hot as fuck all the time.
Mm-hmm. My hands are hot. I do not need something warm in my fucking hands.
Right. So in preparation for this, I listened to a podcast called Spectral Asylum Podcast. And it was their episode number 5. And they kind of talked about Zozo and all that. Well, Laura, one of the co-hosts, Laura, her friend, and her boyfriend were messing around with the Ouija board. Like, this was just her kind of, she couldn't remember all the details, but just kind of after this, like, well, I kind of had an experience too. So she said they asked if they were speaking to a demon, and the board, of course, said yes. And they asked if it wanted to hurt them, and it said yes. Then they asked who it wanted to hurt, and it said her boyfriend. Then they asked its name, and he said Satan. Then they asked him to show him a sign. No, they asked him to show them a sign, and all of a sudden her boyfriend's dog started going fucking crazy. And the planchette started going back and forth between 2 letters, and she couldn't remember what those letters were because this was back in the day.
Yeah.
But again, that's how Zozo does, and it's just really weird that it's when the dogs are barking and then it's going crazy.
Yeah.
So then they stopped, of course.
They said goodbye.
Then the next day, they're like, we playing again. And she's like, yes, I know. We were stupid. Like, teenagers. We thought we were cool and goth and all this shit. So I literally put, they're teens. They dumb. Oh, shit. So they were asking him who he liked best, and it kept moving to her. But she was laying on her side.
How's she doing that?
I don't think she was...
Maybe she was just like the bookkeeper writing down the letters so we knew what the words were.
Mm-hmm. And so she said it kept moving to her. And she said the planchette was kept touching her boob.
Ew. Well, you did say he was flirty.
And I said, basically giving her a titty tap.
Oh my God. He made it to what? First base? Second base?
Second base.
I mean, get it, Zozo.
Right? I mean, isn't kissing first base?
I have no idea.
I feel like. I mean, maybe that's like...
Is holding hands first base?
No.
Kissing's first base?
Uh-huh.
Over, like, shirt shit, second.
Uh-huh.
Third base is, like, oral. And then home runs sex.
Yeah.
We just figured that out, guys. We're so good.
Oh, gosh. While she's getting a titty tap, 2 of her posters fell down at the same time. So she was like, fuck it. We're done.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah. But later that night, they all had very weird dreams and continued to have them for a week or so. And she said that her and her best friend were speaking about it. And both of them, like, woke up from their bad dreams and looked at their curtains and they were both moving.
Damn.
Yeah.
How do they see their curtains at night?
From the light?
What light?
Like, what light? Something window.
Through wander.
Break.
Yeah. Through yonder, not wander.
But yeah, not everyone has blinds. Hell, I feel like in Houston, I could see everything because I had those tall ass fucking...
Yeah, but you had those open things.
That's what I'm saying. But other people don't always close their thing. Their curtains. Hell, you don't have curtains on your back door.
That ain't my bedroom.
Okay, so like always, if my bedazzled boo has done anything with this,
you gotta highlight it.
I got to. Gotta holler at my boo. So Darren was on there and it was fully about him and his experience, and he told him about Zozo and all of this. It was season 10, and I read this on Darren's website. He said he had a lot of people who watched the episode write in emails saying that they were affected just watching it. Yeah. So, to start things off with this episode, they're like, all right, we're going to send this maintenance guy in who has had some experience there. I don't even remember why. Like, I watched this, of course. And so, they bring in the handyman and they sit him on the stairs. And so, like, within seconds, he's like, something is fucking brushing up against me on the stairs. Like, I'm outie. I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Damn.
So then, of course, Zach has to go in, and then he, like, has a meter that something, whatever. He has a meter, and it's, like, spiking between, like, 2 levels. And, of course, he's like, that's, like, ZOZO, like,
yeah,
you know, like, going back and forth between that. So, of course, like, he's like fucking Rain Man over there with the fucking shit.
Like, reading it like Morse code.
Yeah.
Z-O, Z-O.
Oh, God.
Short, long, short, long, short, long. I don't know.
Right. Meanwhile, you're in, like, an unair-conditioned house, so it's B-O, B-O, B-O.
Oh, God. Good one, though.
Okay, so they've had, like, on this, I'm not going to go through the whole episode, but, like, they had definitely unexplained noises happening. They saw, like, apparitions, well, not apparitions, like, shadow people, basically, in a room. The night after they do their lockdown, Zach had, like, extremely disturbing dreams involving the demon. So, there's that. They actually had Darren and his girlfriend who was at the house, who has done shit before. They had him and Zach did the Ouija board, of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And I feel like if you think Zozo's that dangerous, why would you do that? Like, Darren-wise.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. To kill your kid? Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, So, they're doing it, and, like, of course, noises are answering when it's, give me a sign, blah, 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 blah. Zach feels icy cold chills. Like we've said, that temperatures can change when Zozo's in the building. They did get an EVP of "You're cold." I did not do it. Nick Groff, which Nick is one of the investigators, and, like, Nick felt surges of icy cold.
Yeah.
Shit going through his body. Energy, I couldn't think of it. Again, Zach felt it. And when they were using the Ouija board, the planchette, like, breaks during it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where it gets kind of weird and kind of shady. So, not to point fingers at anyone, but Darren's wife, who was his girlfriend at the time that they were in the house, she was pretty suspect. She just had weird vibes going on.
Yeah.
And like she was almost in a trance, but not in a trance.
Yeah.
You know, like how Zach normally gets. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of spaced out. And then at one point, she just like leaves and goes somewhere. Then comes back. Her belt's undone, weird. And like, so then she says she was sexually harassed by it. And it's just odd then.
Yeah.
But then she's gone again. And so Zach is like, I'm going to go find her. She might be like walking around in a daze and she's like fragile and blah, 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 blah. Which, okay. But he doesn't even know the neighborhood or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Well, so then Darren comes back, like comes outside, he meets him, and he's like, I took her, she wasn't feeling well, and I took her back to the hotel.
What?
I was like, when did this fucking happen? Like, I feel like you were just in there.
That felt like they're probably hiding something. Like the crew and all that, like just with the story, like they know where she went and they're hiding something.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what it is? It could fucking be anything.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know. It felt so, like, not genuine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt like Darren, again, I really feel like something happened with the Ouija board in him. And he, I mean, this is his life now, talking about Zozo and doing the shit. So I get, like, he's probably playing it up more to be this. Do I think he had
experience?
Yeah, I do. Did he know it was going to lead into this? No, but now it has, and so he has to, like,
he's riding the wave. Yeah.
Perpetuate it or whatever. But I don't know. It was very weird. Was that house haunted? Or honestly, I feel like even if it's not Zozo with him, or it is, I feel like it's attached to him more so than, like, a Ouija board. So, other than their fucking odd behavior, everyone in the room smelled a very foul smell. It wasn't sulfur, but it was like shit. Like, I mean, it was, like, nasty.
Yeah.
Again, Zach becomes very lethargic and goes into a daze.
And is aggressive?
Mm-hmm. No, he's actually not aggressive this time. They did have some equipment malfunctioning, like the microphone upstairs began to receive interference, and at the same time it received interference, the neighbor's dog started howling.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Or it could have been interference from the howling. Who knows?
Or it could have been like a fucking high-pitched whistle or something that made both go off.
Oh my God. All I can think about is that fucking episode of Let's Not Meet about the person who whistles. And when you said that, like, literally, I could hear that whistle again, and it chills me to the fucking bone.
I had to put Let's Not Meet on a holding pattern, because it's too fucking scary.
It is so good, so creepy, but some of those, like, literally, it was during the day.
I know.
And I got out and I was like, was that fucking whistling? Like, oh my God. Like, I heard it, and then I was like, oh, time to just go inside.
Yeah, I have so many of those to listen to because they're fucking scary.
Yes. So, on the Ouija board, they got Zozo about 20 fucking times. Mm-hmm. Yes, like 6 times. So, you know, as they answered. They had no, Nick, goodbye, haha, kill, and then finally goodbye.
Did they spell kill K-I-L?
He wasn't cool like me, okay? But also, Zach wasn't the only one who was overcome and affected by the demon. Nick, the other guy, he also was affected and kind of had a negative effect on him. And also, Darren, when he's using the Ouija board, he seemingly goes into kind of a trance while they're doing it, like with the planchette, and then like he snaps out of it. And he was like mumbling like meaningless jargon while he was in that trance. Like,
damn.
Or he could have been falling asleep. Who knows?
I hear that, buddy.
But one thing I found on his website that I was like, okay. It said, it seems like when you know about Zozo, you're more susceptible to his power. So, with that, he can't get you from, like, just thinking about him. Maybe if you call him Zozo, but... Zazu, sorry. But, do yourself a favor, do not play with Ouija boards after listening to this episode.
Donna, you always do this shit to us.
I mean...
Fucking Robert... Fucking black-eyed kids. Fucking that stupid painting last week.
Oh, God.
Now
painting.
This shit.
Painting was 2 weeks ago, though. But okay.
Same thing. Either way, stop that.
Right? Look, I got so scared because I typed Zozo so much, I saved it as Z-Demon. For real.
Damn.
I got nervous. Like, I didn't want it to be the saved document.
Yeah.
Thing. I'm so weird.
Oh, my God.
But that is what it is. That wraps up my Ouija board shit.
Extravaganza.
Well,
that's good, but now I'm doomed. And so are all the listeners.
Now we have to play the Ouija.
No, the fuck we don't. You just told me not to.
Not right now.
You just said don't.
Not right now. I mean, like, now as in later.
Now and later?
Yes. Do they still make this? Mm-hmm. Y'all, those were so good. Ooh.
You don't like grape. I love grape.
Yeah, no. But the strawberry ones or the cherry ones, yes.
My mouth just watered thinking the cherry ones.
Oh my God. So good. Okay. Well, that is it.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. New story, who dis?
Okay. Have you ever heard of Ruby Ridge?
No, and I can't say that name.
And Randall Claude Weaver.
Damn. These names, what did you say? You Googled W's and R's?
I said, what are the hardest things for Donna to say? Let me choose that story.
Yes.
Okay. So, Randall Claude Weaver, he was born January 3rd, 1948 in Villisca, Iowa.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry.
He was one of 4 children born to Clarence and Wilma. He was their only boy. He grew up in a very religious household. And, like, at the age of 11, he formally accepted Jesus into his life. He graduated from high school in 1966 and then went to Iowa Central Community College, where he met Vicki Jordison, who would later become his wife.
Okay.
She also grew up in a very strict religious household.
So they had sex between a sheet?
Yeah, with a hole. A glory hole. So he cut his time at college short and dropped out so that he could join the army. He was really good at the military. Like, he's good with strict, like he's good with rules and all that. Like, he was so good, he became a Green Beret.
Dang.
And he served for 3 years. When he left the military in 1971, he went back to Iowa.
And then murdered that family that I talked about?
No. Okay. So they got married in November of 1971, and then they moved to Cedar Falls, Iowa. Randy was going to go back to college, and he wanted to work in law enforcement. But he ended up, instead of going into law enforcement, he got a job at the John Deere tractor factory.
She thinks his tractor's sexy.
Mm-hmm.
It really turns her on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
They had their first child, Sarah, who was born in 1976. And in 1978, Vicki she was reading a lot, and she read this book that started to kind of change their outlook on religion to a more, still Christian-based, but apocalyptic view of the world.
Oh, fuck. Shit's gonna get real creepy.
And what's so funny is that I had picked this story before we watched American Horror Story.
Whoa.
Uh-huh. The book, it was by Hal Lindsey, and it's The Great Planet Earth, which applied the author's kind of interpretation of the Old Testament to current well, again, this is in the 70s, but current situations.
Yeah.
And decided that we
End
were
of
at the
times.
end of times. Exactly.
Yeah. Spoiler, we weren't.
Yeah. It was like nuclear holocaust.
Uh-huh.
And Armageddon and end of the world, and Jesus was going to come back. That's the great news. But the planet would be violent, and Christians are going to be persecuted, and it's going to be called the Great Tribulation. It's all these like Bible things. There's going to be the rapture. The true believers are going to join him in paradise, God being him.
Wait, well, paradise is also Hell.
Mm-hmm. Where they Kilu. I don't know why I said that K so weird. Kilu.
Kilu.
Ricky and that's their couple. That's how when I shipped them. That's their new couple name, Ricky, because it's Vicky and Randy.
Oh, I was like, yeah, Ricky. Who's Ricky?
Okay, Vicky and Randy started to tell some friends that they wanted to move kind of out of this like worldly life. They wanted to go up on a mountaintop. They wanted to get rid of get away from the government and
be
people.
off-grid.
And they wanted to be around hunters, good Christians like them.
Yeah.
And Vicky would always say, like, we've been having this vision.
Oh, Lord. We just have to sacrifice 20 versions. Damn.
20 versions of virgins. Different ethnicities. Those are the virgins. Versions of the virgins. Some tall, some short, some skinny, some fat.
Check.
Okay. So, again, Vicky's into this reading, and she's trying to figure out, like, when the world's going to end. So she starts reading a book called Atlas Shrugged, and it's a novel.
Hey, yeah, I've read that.
Really?
Yeah.
A warning about the dangers of the all-powerful state and the, like, stories of H.G. Wells, and, again, full of themes like Armageddon, Judgment Day.
Yeah. It's like
the rapture, the Lord's coming back kind of thing. So she and Randy started meeting with other Christians in the Cedar Falls area that were, again, radical, starting to kind of tiptoe on that radicalness.
Like radical fundamentalist or something.
And again, they're very into like the Old Testament. And so they, she was really like she had like the King James version of the Bible. And it was like, they would get lessons from the Old Testament, such as don't eat unclean meat, such as pork and oysters. Pork and oysters.
You can eat pork, but don't poik your wife.
Oh my God. Unless it's through a sheet with a glory hole. Okay. But then they were kind of into the New Testament a little bit, because apparently in Matthew 24, the passage said, then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains. And so she was like, I told you we have to move to the mountains, right? So they kind of were.
Again, cherry pick what they want. We're Old Testament. Oh, the New Testament has this? That's true.
Yeah. I just have to read this sentence that I got from the whatever. They adopted a conspiratorial worldview that linked Jews to the Illuminati, Masons, and the Trilateral Commission. So Randy started being very fundamentalist, very like prepper.
Yeah.
Okay. He started sleeping with a flak jacket, which I think is the one with all the pockets.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm clearly not a prepper. He had his loaded gun under his pillow.
Like, I'm sorry. That would be Princess and the fucking Pea for me, because I'd be like, ugh, I can't get
I know. Ugh. Yes. Okay. So he said in this, he did an interview with a reporter for a Waterloo paper, and he said that he planned to build a house in the woods with a defensible 300-yard, quote, kill zone around its perimeter. And that, so Randy and Vicky were again, increasingly more radical, more secluded, getting away from mainstream. So in 1983, they decided to leave Iowa for good.
Well, good riddance.
So that was like September 6th, 1983. They found, quote from Vicky, just what the Lord showed, like what their new home, quote, would look like. It was like this hilltop with lots of boulders, really beautiful property. Some stuff I found varying accounts of how big the property was. Like some stuff said 7 acres, some stuff said 13 acres, some 15 acres.
Yeah. But it was a lot.
It was a big piece of property. This one thing said where I saw that they paid $7,500 for that 15 acres. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So they bought the land, they started making plans to build their cabin. Well, in 1984, Randy Weaver is his name, you remember, his neighbor, Terry Kennison, they started having a dispute about the land deal.
Oh,
and
shit.
It was a dispute about $3,000.
Oh, Lord.
So,
I mean, that is half of what he bought it for. So.
Yeah, but so Kennison basically was saying that he owed more money than saying that he owed the $3,000. Randy Weaver's like, no, the fuck I don't. And so they went to court.
Get receipts, people. Get receipts.
Right. So they went to court. Kennison lost. And so he had to pay. I may have been wrong about who thought who owed money. Anyway, basically, Kennison lost. He was ordered to pay Weaver an additional $2,100 in court costs and damages. So, Kennison's like, I'll fucking show you.
Oh, fuck.
He wrote a letter to the FBI, the Secret Service, and the county sheriff saying that Randy Weaver had threatened to kill the Pope, the president, and John V. Evans, who at the time was the governor of Idaho.
Damn.
So in January of 85, the police and the Secret Service start investigating Randy because, you know, this guy's saying that he made fucking threats against the president. Like, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Which now I feel like they would also look at
that guy
too.
Mm-hmm. They would already know these people.
Right.
Nowadays. But, so, on February 12th, Randy and Vicky were both interviewed by 2 FBI agents, 2 Secret Service agents, the Boundary County Sheriff, and the Chief Investigator.
Damn. Hope they had water.
So, shit.
That's a lot of fucking talking. Well, they were probably like, plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
Well, so the Secret Service said that they had heard that the Weavers were part of the Aryan Nation.
Oh, Ferk.
Yeah, we're getting into some serious white supremacy shit. And that they had a large collection of weapons at the residence.
Well, he was talking about a 300-yard kill zone or whatever. 300
and starting
feet.
to become radical and the chosen people kind of thing. Well, Weaver was like, no, the fuck I don't. And so no charges were filed. I don't know. They didn't look at the property. I don't know.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
That's how it always is.
In the investigation, though, it was noted that he was, Randy, was associated with Frank Kumnick, who was also part of the Aryan Nation.
Oh, gosh.
So Weaver was like, but look, I'm not, Frank's not, neither one of us are up in that damn Aryan Nation things. And he said, Kumnick, Frank, is actually in the covenant sword and arm of the Lord. So I was like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick little, like, synopsis that I found on, Wikipedia. What I found of it is that it's a far right-winged terrorist organization that uses Christian identity kind of whatever that word is I'm trying to say, and survivalism during the 1970s and early 80s. And so it was developed from a Baptist congregation called some church words I don't know, Zarephath Horeb Community Church. I don't know.
Community college.
Community college. Blah, blah stuff you don't really have to know. They had a large compound in northern Arkansas called The Farm.
Well, that's original.
Mm-hmm. And April 1885, when I was born, law enforcement officers started investigating the group for weapons violation and terrorist acts. They carried out a siege on the compound. Peaceful resolution. They arrested and convicted the top leaders, and the organization dissolved.
Wow.
I will say, though, you know, again, very like Aryan Brotherhood in that like there's a high priest and a blah, 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 blah.
A grand poobah.
Yeah. Okay. So just like a kind of conspiracy type theory type thing. The covenant, the sword, and the arm of the Lord, that's also known as the CSA, they are possibly, little asterisks, don't sue us, tied to the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh, fuck.
Because it was tied to the, quote, New Day teaching of the LOM city.
Really?
Okay, so it says that, like, of course there's not proof. Timothy McVeigh had no association with the CSA, but he had, like, just joined the Army when the compound was besieged and completely broken up, everybody arrested. But the Oklahoma City bombing occurred exactly on the 10-year anniversary of the start of the siege of the CSA compound. And if you remember that Timothy McVeigh was part of the protests at Waco.
Oh, yeah.
So, which happened like 2 years before the Oklahoma City bombing. Richard Wayne Snell, who was one of the head-ups of the CSA, he was also executed on the day of the bombing and had planned a similar attack that was supposed to be carried out in 1983 on the IRS.
Whoa.
Which is what the Oklahoma City bombing was. And so it's like Timothy McVeigh, when he was out of the Army, is when he became active at gun shows. And again, well, I've got ahead of myself, but, you know, he was an advocate at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco and all of that. And so it's just, if you could go into a really deep dive of conspiracy theory and all of that with this.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I just had to do that little caveat of it may not actually be connected and it's all a crock of shit, but it's just really weird, like the timelines.
Yeah,
and
the pieces do fall into place.
The similarities, yeah. Back to the story. Randy Weaver's like, Frank Kumnick and I are not in the Aryan Nation. He is in the Covenant Sword and Army of the Lord, or Arm of the Lord. So on February 28th, 1985, Randy and Vicky filed an affidavit at the courthouse saying that their personal enemies were plotting to provoke the FBI into attacking and killing the Weaver family. They're talking about the Kinnison guy.
Yeah.
On May 6th, same year, 85, a really great year. Donna and I were both born. You're welcome. No, just kidding. Randy and Vicky sent a letter to Ronald Reagan, president at the time, and said that Weaver's enemies sent the president a threatening letter under forged signature.
Oh my God.
But there's no evidence of a letter like ever being sent to the president.
Yeah.
Like other than the one they sent. You know, like like the original letter that they're saying was forged was never found. So, of course, this, you know, in the 80s when it's like the Aryan Nation is kind of coming to fruition, there's splinter groups that break off. Like the Order was one of the splinter groups that was, you know, a high criminal organization, like bank robberies, armored car robberies, synagogue bombings, murders. You know, they even killed a radio host in Denver named Alan Berg because he was Jewish.
What the hell?
Yeah. But even though that they had indicted and prosecuted a lot of the Order members, which were a subsect of the Aryan Nation, or a splinter group, I guess I should say, there were still bombings happening in federal buildings and stuff. And so they were like, okay, we got to figure out what the fuck is going on. So the government had an informant in the Aryan Nations.
Oh, shit.
So at this World Aryan Congress that they had, there was the informant that I told you about, Kenneth Fatally. He went by the alias Gus. It's Gus Maganzono, but you know I suck with saying names. So, but his fake name is Gus.
He said,
Gus. So he met Randy Weaver a few times over the next 3 years. This poor dude was like, oh wait, never mind. I was thinking he was in deep cover. Like I was thinking he was a undercover, but he was an informant. But
yeah.
So they met a few times. In October of 89, Gus had a conversation with Randy, and Randy was like, kind of foreshadowing the foreskin of a war among the Soviet Union, like with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And just talked about how, like, the world's going down the tubes and, God and guns, And so Weaver said that he would sell Gus a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, yeah. They're on the up and up here, peeps.
Mm-hmm. Gus says that Randy's the one that proposed the deal. Randy was like, it was the other way around. But either way, 2 weeks later at a city park, Randy, I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. Randy gave Gus 2 shotguns, sawed 5 inches shorter than the federal law allowed. Do you know why, like, what that does to the shotguns to make them worse? I should have texted somebody before I did this, because I don't know if it makes it more powerful, because you would think it wouldn't, though, because you think that going through the barrel would make the bullet, like, shoom, 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 and go faster, But anyway, okay. In June of 1990, 2 God dang it, I cannot say that, ATF, which here in America is the, what is it? The
American ATF.
No, it's something with arms, something and something.
Yeah. Firearms?
Yeah, hang on.
Association?
No. It's the, ATF is the government.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, okay. Duh. God, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Oh, yeah.
3 God-given rights.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Okay. So the ATF was like, yo, Weaver, we got good evidence that you violated federal gun laws. And they were like, we're going to give you a deal, though. You become an informant on the Aryan Nation, and we'll drop your gun charge. Weaver was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can all fucking go to hell. Like, literally, he was like, you can go to hell. And so he went back to the cabin that night, because, him and Vicky had made their little cabin, made their little life on the hill. Mm-hmm. And they wrote a letter to, quote, Aryan nations and all our brethren of the Anglo-Saxon race.
God.
To warn them that ATF agents were on the lookout, trying to find snitches, but they're like, snitches get stitches. Mm-hmm. Fuck that. And so the ATF issued a warrant for the arrest of Randy Weaver. Okay. So knowing that the warrant and all that had come about, Vicky filed an affidavit with the county clerk giving, quote, legal notice that we believe we may have to defend ourselves and our family from physical attacks on our lives, end quote.
Oh, my God.
By the federal government, ATF agents. By the federal government. So the ATF agents were like, okay, well, they filed this notice, like, basically saying, if we come on their compound, we gonna fucking die. So they're like, okay, we can't, like, just go there. Avi, the ATF was like, we will fucking get murdered if we step on their property. They've already filed the affidavit saying, like, they're ready to go down in a blaze of glory kind of thing. Like, okay, we got to arrest him to serve this warrant, but we're not just going to show up on his property. So what they did was they were like, okay, we're going to pose as people on the side of the road whose car's broken down, and they'll stop to help because they'll think they're neighborly or some shit, and arrest them. So
hopefully they're white, because they ain't going to help anyone else besides their Anglo-Saxon brethren.
Mm-hmm. It must have been. So it worked. They pulled over to help them. They arrested
They killed
them
with the love.
They were like, we were just trying to be fucking nice. I ain't never been a good Samaritan again. So they arrested them. And of course, the Weavers were like, they pled not guilty. They released them on $10,000 bond and set a court date for February 20th, 1991.
Ain't never gonna make it to that day.
Well, here's what had happened was.
Oh, shit.
I will say, though, that one thing I saw said that the letter or that the court date was set for February 20th. But the other thing, one of these other articles says that it was set for February 19th.
Mm.
So in January, the judge assigned an attorney for the Weavers. And so on that same day, Randy Weaver calls the U.S. probation officer, Carl Richens, who told him, like, that he had been instructed to contact.
Yeah.
And Richens was like, the probation officer, or parole, whatever the fuck it is, was like, I don't have your case file, so I don't know why you're contacting me, so I'll just contact you back when I get your case file, and we'll get it all organized. Well, Randy didn't give him his phone number.
Oh, Lord.
And so the new defense attorney, Hoffmeister, sent letters to Randy.
Hoffmeister?
Yeah. His attorney sent him letters on January 19th, January 30th, and February 5th asking Randy to contact him so they could start working on his defense.
Yeah.
This is where I fucked up on the dates. I'm sorry. So at the beginning of February, they changed his trial date from the 19th to the 20th.
Okay.
That's where I'm fucked up. I'm sorry. So, because it was right around a federal holiday, and so they were trying to give people more time to travel, get whatever, federal holiday, blah, 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 blah. So, the change in date was sent to all parties involved, but it was never sent directly to Randy. It was sent to Randy's attorney.
Oh.
Well, Randy's not fucking answering his attorney.
Yeah.
So, he never got it. So, on February 7th, the probation officer sent Randy a letter stating that he now had the case file and he needed to talk to him. But that letter said that the trial was on March 20th.
Oh,
it was a misprint. They mistyped.
Yeah.
And said it was set for March 20th instead of February 20th. So again, the attorney's still trying to get in contact with him. Like, you need to contact me immediately. Yeah. Called him several times, sent him letters. Never called him back. Yeah. And so the attorney was like, look, I can't get in touch with him. Told the judge, like, look, I can't get in touch with him. He's gotten these letters, whatever.
And so, ain't nobody going to go to their house?
No, they've spelled out an affidavit thing they're going to be shooting. So on February 20th, the judge issued a bench warrant for his arrest because he didn't fucking come to court.
Yeah.
Because the only letter that we know that he got was the one that said March 20th.
Yeah.
So he got a bench warrant for failure to appear. So even though, because one of the local news media outlets, like, was actually kind of the one that put the pieces together that the date was wrong on the letter. And so they had contacted the chief probation officer and, like, all the U.S. Marshals, Weaver's attorney, all of them saying that, like, look, this letter had the wrong date. Like, he didn't just not show up. Well, the judge refused to withdraw the bench warrant.
Well, honestly, though, he could have opened the other letters if he opened that one.
Yeah.
And had it, or contacted his lawyer.
But that's not how our legal system works.
No,
it's a technicality, and so...
I know.
Whatever. So, the U.S. Marshals were like, well, if he's not going to take the bench warrant off, we're not going to wait until after March 20th to see if he's going to show up. We're going to go get him now. So, if he would have shown... Okay, if the U.S. Marshals would have waited to see if he showed up on the March 20th, mm-hmm. all of that would have been dropped. All of the bench warrant, all of that would have been dropped. But instead of waiting to see if he showed up, they were like, we got to execute this bench warrant.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if they'd have just fucking waited 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, where's he going? You know he's not leaving his fucking compound. So this is all happened in 1991. But he did have another kid in 1990. So they had, again, I feel like this is a Bible name. I don't know how to spell. It's like Elijah, but it's like Elisha and Elijah and Reba had a baby. And it's Elisha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So, I have to read these words because it cracked me up, this article. It said, the Weaver household grew in 1990 with a delivery in their birthing shed.
Skirt?
Yeah. Of their baby girl named Bible name. I don't know. That shit's hard. Those are hard names to pronounce, and I just don't have the energy.
If it's not Jebediah, I don't know.
Okay, so they had Sarah, who's 15, Sammy, who was 13, Rachel, 9, and now the little baby.
By one name.
Yeah. They also had a teen that lived there. His name was Kevin Harris. He was the kid that had a pretty troubled past and came to live with them for a little while, you know?
Uh-huh.
So the marshals are like, okay, we got to execute this warrant, but there's kids there. We know they're going to be, like, ready to roll. We got to figure this out. So in order to prepare for this kind of takedown or arrest for the warrant, they had established special, like, rules of engagement that were drafted, like, at the FBI headquarters and by the marshals.
Damn.
The area in which they lived, they called it Ruby Ridge, which is why.
Oh, okay.
So it was the rules of engagement for Ruby Ridge.
You know what? You said that name at the very beginning, and I haven't even asked why you didn't bring that up.
Okay. So there were 4 rules of engagement. 1, if any adult in the area of the cabin is observed with a weapon after the surrender announcement has been made, deadly force could and should be used to neutralize the individual.
Burk.
2, if any adult male is observed with a weapon prior to the announcement, deadly force can and should be employed if the shot could be taken without endangering any children. 3, if compromised by any dog, the dog can be taken out.
No!
4, any subjects other than Randy Weaver, Vicky Weaver, and Kevin Harris presenting threat of death or grievous bodily harm, FBI rules of deadly force apply. Deadly force can be utilized to prevent the death or grievous bodily harm to oneself or that of another.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Shit's about to get real.
So there was some communication that, like, changing it to adult instead of adult male excluded Vicky. And so it was just like basically said, like, so the FBI's rules of engagement 2 are agents are not to use deadly force against any person except as necessary in self-defense or the defense of another when they have reason to believe that they or another are in danger of death or grievous bodily harm. Whenever feasible, verbal warnings should be given before deadly force is applied. So clearly the rules of engagement that they adopted for the Ruby Ridge is way more fucking aggressive than the FBI's, rules for deadly force.
Yeah.
Even though they said, like, okay, we're going to use the FBI's. Randy said that the feds were more concerned about, quote, shutting our mouths than they were about shotguns. So he claimed that he wasn't Aryan, he wasn't a Nazi. They were just people who came to Idaho to escape religious persecution.
They just happened to write a letter to the Aryan nation and their brethren.
Right.
Of Anglo-Saxon descent.
Mm-hmm. So on August 21st, 1992, 6 marshals go into the Weaver property on Ruby Ridge to scout out positions for an undercover plan to capture them.
Okay.
It was 10:45 in the morning, and they were close to the end of the operation to scout out the places when 3 of the marshals were moving back down the mountain to go, to meet back up. Around that time, the Weaver's dog, who was a yellow lab named Stryker.
Oh, no.
Got a whiff of them, was like, huh? What's that? And so he runs down to see what's happening and is barking, freaking out. And so the Weaver's son, Sammy, and Kevin Harris are like, what the fuck is that? They were like, ooh, one of the sources said that they were like, ooh, maybe the dog saw some, meat, like a deer or some shit, run by, and that's why he's freaking out, because they were out of meat in the house. Because they, were, they lived off the...
Yeah, lived off the land.
Yeah. And so they were like, yes, let's go investigate. Let's go see what's going on. And so as the dog closed in on the 3 marshals who were coming down the hill, there's only one. The dog there were 3 marshals, like I said, Arthur Roderick, Larry Cooper, and then Bill Deegan. The dog had Larry Cooper cornered. So Kevin Harris comes up behind the dog, and Larry Copper stands up and shouts, "Back off, U.S. Marshals." Seconds later, from behind a stump, Billy Deegan rises and gets on a knee and is
I'm
like...
sorry. All I can picture is like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, like the little shoot 'em games.
Yes.
Yeah. But Deegan comes up and he's like, "Freeze, U.S. Marshals." That's when the shots begin.
Oh, fuck.
There's still no consensus over who fired the first shot. Was it
God.
the Weavers or was it the Marshals?
Yeah.
The government story is that Harris, Kevin Harris, the friend that was staying with him, was the first to fire, and he shot Billy Deegan in the chest and killed him.
Oh.
The marshal. So Cooper did 2 3-round bursts at Kevin and missed him. Meanwhile, the other guy, Arthur Roderick, like is down the path a little bit in his location, and so he's worried that the dog's going to give his position away, so he shoots and kills Stryker.
Oh,
the dog.
no.
I know. What the government story leaves out and cannot explain is how in the fuck their 13-year-old son, Sammy, ended up dead with a bullet in his back.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. They said that, according to the marshals, they had no idea that Sammy was even killed, and that it wasn't until days later his body was found in the birthing shed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It says that what they do know is that there were a lot of machine guns that were gathered up, and that, like, they said, okay, so Cooper said that Deegan never fired, but there were 7 rounds missing from Deegan's gun. So Kevin Harris said that a very different story. He says that Roderick shot the dog, and Sammy was like, "You killed my dog, you son of a bitch," like, quote.
Yeah.
And began firing at the marshal, who opened up his can of whip ass with the guns.
Yeah.
And Kevin said that the only reason why he fired on Deegan was to protect Sammy, but it was too late. So of course, it gets out to the FBI that a marshal's down. And so the very next morning, on August 22nd, snipers were told again, like they were in place and told, like, you see someone with a weapon, you can and should take them out.
Yeah.
Use deadly force. Okay, at this point, snipers are in place.
Snipers
in the she shed. Excuse me, the birthing shed.
The birthing shed.
Okay, so snipers are in place. They're shoot to kill them all kind of thing. Randy, Sarah, and Kevin leave the cabin to go visit Sammy's body.
God bless
When
it.
they get to the shed door is when one of the snipers shoots to take Randy out.
Fuck.
Well, he misses and hits him in the arm. So after he's shot, the 3 run back in the cabin. Gosh. So Vicky opens the door as her husband and oldest daughter are followed by Kevin.
Yeah.
They, like, dove in, and, like, shots continued. So there was another, like, as they dove in, another shot rang out. Inside the cabin, you could hear them screaming.
Oh, fuck.
What they didn't know, and they wouldn't find out for days, is that Vicky had been shot in the brain, and it went through her brain and lodged in the arm of Kevin Harris.
Oh, my gosh.
So 3 hours after the shooting, Kevin is, like, coughing up blood in agony, begging Randy to finish him off. And Randy's like, "Kevin, I can't do that. Like, I can't kill you."
Oh, my gosh.
So negotiations went on for days. Lots and lots and lots of right-winged protesters start gathering at Ruby Ridge. The negotiators didn't know that Vicky was dead. And so, again, it took it wasn't until basically the end that they found that out. And so they were trying to use her as a negotiation tactic, thinking that she was alive and thinking that it would be peaceful by using Vicky, and it backfired. Like, one of the negotiators on day 3 said, Good morning, Miss Weaver. We had pancakes this morning. What did you have for breakfast? Why don't you send the children out for some pancakes, Miss Weaver?
Oh my God.
And so the Weavers didn't know that they didn't know. And so the Weavers were like, fuck them. That's a cruel fucking joke.
Yes.
That is not okay. You know, and so they were like, fuck this. Kevin and Randy were like, okay, we're going to die. So we're going to write a letter. So they wrote a 6-page letter about their side of the confrontation.
More like a manifesto, but okay.
Right. So on August 28th, they finally started having a breakthrough on the standoff. We're on day 7.
Holy fuck.
Randy agreed to speak with Bo Gritz, who was a former Green Beret, but also was more right-winged like him.
Yeah.
And that guy was actually running for president on the Populist Party ticket.
Oh, Lord.
So, Gritz and 2 other friends succeeded on August 30th to convince Kevin Harris to surrender and receive medical treatment.
Wow.
So that's day 9.
Holy fuck.
The Weavers ended up surrendering the next day when Gritz promised that he would get defense attorney Jerry Spence, because he was like this like famed defense attorney, and they were like, okay, we're going to get you him. You just surrender.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 days. 10 days.
And I'm just thinking of him with like that shot.
I know.
Kevin,
I know.
Gosh. Been like, I'm done. Come and get me. But even if, what's her name? Vicky, even if she was alive, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
It is.
Well,
they're trying to reach the mother, the mothering instinct in her.
Yeah. It's just, I guess, how you read it too, like knowing
that she's dead. Yeah.
But just that, like, instead of being like, don't you wish your kids could do, like, that would be better to me than
we had this.
Yeah, we had this. Send your kids out. Like,
yeah.
One that sounds like you're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Be like a lead pancake.
Oh, God. Okay. So the Bo Gritz guy that's going to run for president, he, again, very right-winged, very like, I'm going to use this as a new campaign issue.
Oh, Lord.
So he told his supporters, there's a bureaucrat up here that's guilty. Somebody is going to be brought to justice. I believe we're going to find some fat bureaucrat who authorized this to go down.
Why they got to be fat?
I don't know. Then the FBI's top agent at Ruby Ridge, Gene Glenn, said that, quote, "We're very sorry. There are no winners in a situation with all of this sadness."
Gosh.
So after the surrender, the grand jury indicted Kevin Harris for the murder of Deputy Marshal Deegan and indicted Randy Weaver for aiding and abetting in Deegan's death.
Whoa.
So they both pled not guilty, and they were in jail for 8 months waiting for trial. It was, of course, this really extensive trial.
Well, hell, I can only imagine.
Yeah. The trial started on April 12th, 1993, one day after my birthday. The prosecutors, of course, were talking about, like, the shooting of Bill Deegan as cold-blooded murder. But then the defense, their opening, they talked of Sammy yelling, "I'm coming, Dad," and then moments later being shot in the back.
Oh, my gosh.
They said running away, running home.
Oh, gosh.
They talked about Kevin Harris being the fall guy, the government's botched handling of the standoff. So there was a lot of kind of back and forth testimony. Like the Marshal Larry Cooper was like, "No, Harris shot Bill Deegan like as soon as he stood up. Like he identified himself, and he just shot him in cold blood." They said that the defense suggested that the marshals had silencers on their guns the whole time because that like scouting mission was actually designed to kill the dog so that they could come in without the dog notifying anybody. And so like I feel like a lot kind of not hinged on the dog, but I feel like it like there was some stuff like questioning as to the timeline of when the dog was shot versus Deegan versus, so was it even necessary to kill the, there was a lot going on into that. But then there was a lot of talk about Vicky's letters to the government saying that, just her, like, all that shit that they wrote. Okay, so they found 14 guns, including 2 loaded with armor-piercing bullets, 4,500 rounds of ammunition.
Holy fuck.
All found, like, at the Ruby Ridge.
Fuck.
The prosecutors also played surveillance tapes showing the kids walking around with guns, like, protecting it.
Mm-hmm.
They showed that, like, in the surveillance video, Sammy had a gun on him, like, 84% of the time. He said that, like, again, it went back to the dog, like, why'd you kill it? And, it's like, well, I thought he was going to attack me and then also identify my location. And,
yeah.
Again, a lot around the dog. So one of the most, like, anticipated witnesses was the sniper who shot who shot Randy Weaver. Well, and actually ended up being Kevin Harris, too.
Yeah.
The one that went through Vicky. 10 armed federal agents were in the courtroom for the testimony. Neo-Nazi groups had plastered all over the place, wanted dead or alive posters with the picture of the sniper. He talked about how he fired his first shot because he believed that Kevin Harris was positioning himself to shoot at an approaching helicopter. And so he just said that, like, when he shot, too, he had no idea that, like, Vicky was right there and it would have, like, behind this curtain and it would have gone through. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm taking out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The closing arguments were on June 15th.
Holy Hannah.
2 months.
Wow.
2 months and 3 days. So, the jury deliberations lasted longer than any other in Idaho history.
Fuck.
The jury had 8 separate charges to decide, from failure to appear all the way to first-degree murder.
Yeah.
On July 8th, the jury finally completed their deliberations.
I'm eager to see what they did.
They voted to acquit Kevin Harris on all charges. And they acquitted Randy Weaver on all major charges. Weaver was convicted for failing to appear in court. So on October 18th, the judge sentenced Weaver to 18 months in jail. Having served 14 already and with good behavior, he was out by Christmas.
Holy Hannah.
Mm-hmm. So following his release, he went back to Iowa with the baby daughter that I can't say and Rachel. They left Sarah in Des Moines to finish up her senior year of high school. There was a lot about the death of Vicky Weaver and did it violate the department's use of deadly force, and it almost became like a folklore in right-winged extremists.
Yeah.
About, whatever. Well, in 1985, the Weaver family brought a civil suit against the United States, and they settled with the government agreeing to pay $3.1 million in compensation for the deaths of Vicky and Sammy Weaver. 5 years later, Kevin Harris accepted a $380,000 settlement.
Wow. Whoa.
Okay. So in 1997, there were more developments.
Oh, shit.
A new inspection of the vicinity found the bullet that killed Sammy Weaver. The bullet came from Larry Cooper's gun. So, the county filed involuntary manslaughter charges against the FBI agent. The judge ended up moving it because they charged it on his name was Lon Huichi. That's the sniper.
Okay.
So that case was later moved. Let me just read that sentence because it's kind of confusing. So, okay. So the county prosecutor filed involuntary manslaughter charges against FBI agent Lon Hyuchi, he's the sniper, and murder charges later dropped against Kevin Harris. Hyuchi case was moved to federal court, where the judge dismissed the charge on federal preemption grounds. So then the Court of Appeals overturned the decision and reinstated the charge in 2001.
2001?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, the prosecutor dropped the charges against the sniper. And according to his friends, the sniper continues to be haunted by the ghost of Ruby Ridge.
Wow.
It says Randy Weaver, at the time the charges were dropped against the sniper, drove a Cadillac and a Harley, lived on a quiet street in Jefferson, Iowa. He appeared at gun shows, signed copies of his 1998 book about the siege.
Wow. Living his best fucking life.
Mm-hmm. And his inscription when he signed it would be, quote, "Keep your powder dry." Yep. He continued with his radical separatism and anti-government beliefs. He changed his religious views, though. He said that religion's all a bunch of crap. In 2001, when he asked what he remembered about Ruby Ridge, he said, quote, "There was no wind. The snowflakes were so big you could hear them when they hit the ground. The kids had 3 or 4 campgrounds around the land. They'd go out and build fires at night, and Vicky canned. She and the kids would pick huckleberries. She got top dollar because she picked clean. Or she'd trade a gallon of huckleberries for 4 quarts of peas. We sold firewood, me, Vicky, and the kids."
Gosh.
Yep. And so that's the story of the extremist white right-wing quasi-neo-Nazi quasi-Aryan Ruby Ridge government siege.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I know. It's one of those. It's another Waco. It's pre-Waco, which kind of pisses me off that Waco even happened the way it did, because did they not learn from this?
Right.
The government fucked up. Fucked up big. Now, did they have reason to suspect and to be watching and to be arresting the Weavers? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
They were selling illegal firearms. That is a federal charge.
Yeah.
You know, because I play an attorney on the podcast. So they abso-fucking-lutely had rights, or should have been looking at the Weavers.
Yeah.
However, the fallout was horrible. And the whole situation, the whole surveillance and all of that should have been handled very differently.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember what year it was.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't have the drones and the see-through shit and, you know, all the stuff that we have now that they could have used thermal imaging and known that Vicky was standing behind whatever she was behind. And she would have, if this happened today, she may not have died. Yeah. Because they would have known everyone's position in the house. If TV's real. You know?
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. You know, it kind of, this could be a big topic, and we can kind of hold this for later, another episode if we want to. But, you know, it kind of goes to the malpractice thing we were talking about last episode, in that, you know, you want officers who are put in these life and death situations to be able to defend themselves and to be protected and not have to fear being charged with murder for protecting themselves. But on the flip side, too, we see all that's happening in the world today and all of these people who have been murdered by police officers. So it's like, it's such a catch-22, because I'm so supportive of law enforcement and just our armed forces and all of that. Like, all men and women in uniform, like, I truly support them.
Yes,
and
thankful for what they do.
Thankful for them putting their lives on the line every single day. There's always bad apples, though. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, you have to make the rules to protect against the bad apples. And so, same thing kind of with, like, the malpractice and all of that we talked about last week. It for the good guys, it does create anxiety for the people who are doing what they're supposed to do. do you want a law enforcement officer, when they're making that split-second decision to pull the trigger or not, do you want them to have to think about, am I going to be arrested for this?
Right.
And so it's like, it's such a catch-22, and I really hope I'm not offending anybody this, because I am really not taking a stand on either thing. I'm just saying, I'm just showing both sides, because I 100% believe that people should be protected, and law enforcement officers who are being inappropriate need to be held accountable.
Yeah, definitely.
But I also want good law enforcement officers to be protected too.
Yeah.
And there not to be an assumption when shit goes down that who was in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think some sides immediately assume that the person who was killed, the quote criminal, is wrong before you know all the facts. And then some people immediately assume that the officer is in the wrong before you know all the facts. And so I guess my takeaway is know all the facts before you make a judgment.
Yeah.
Because in this case, I still don't know how I feel.
Yeah, because also, like, I hate that he got shot in the back, too. However, it's still like, I mean, I would shoot someone if someone had been shooting at me and they turned around to run. I would still shoot them.
Well, and you also don't know the situation where, okay, so let's say that you and I are up on the hill as we're scouting this out, and he's shooting at me and then turns to run towards you. Yeah. Well, then I'm protecting you, so I shoot him but it's in the back.
Yeah.
Or he's been firing at me and he's running to take cover to shoot again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still shooting at him because he's taking cover to shoot me again.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
you have to be able to take your shot
when you can take your shot.
It. But again, we don't know the situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's so many variables, and especially too, again, the time of when this happened, again, with the technology and the body cams and the, you send in robots and shit. I mean, they would have sent in drones or robots to scope this out, and not 3 marshals who were trying to catch up with 3 other ones,
Right.
And so they would have had satellite imaging of the Ruby Ridge and all of these different things. And so it's like, I feel like you almost can't fault either side for doing what they did with the knowledge that they had at the time.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have all the facts.
Yeah. And at the same time, if you think about it, if they hadn't have done this, which I don't wish it had happened at all, but if they didn't do this and then they killed, had a mass murder with all those guns that they had, then people would be like, why didn't you step in sooner? Why didn't you do more to do this? You know what I mean? Like, after the fact, it's always like, I don't care what you had to go to. Yeah. What lengths you had to do it. Yeah. But then when they do it before, it's the bad thing. But it's like, it could have prevented a mass murder.
It could have prevented another Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Or a pre-Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Which, again, I'm not saying that it was a good thing that it happened or
and
whatever.
You're not saying that by inappropriate means.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I don't know. It's just so hard.
I guess the takeaway, number 1, what did we learn? Number 1, know all the facts before you make a decision.
Yeah.
Because
which is hard.
I feel like, especially on Obscura podcast, which is so good. I'm on the last episode that I'm caught up and I'm sad. But on Obscura, he does an episode of right-winged, a couple who's very extremist, right-wing, kills police officers, shoots up a CC's and a Walmart and whatever. Fuck. And they were promoted, it's not really the word I want to use, but they were encouraged by what we now call fake news. And he talks a lot about, in that episode, it's really good. I wish I knew which one it was. But it's a male and a female couple that he talks about. And that's their names inside. Anyway, he talks a lot about, I forget what it was called back then before we started calling it fake news. But
propaganda?
It's that's not what he called it. But basically, yes, it's propaganda where you choose these salacious headlines to rile people up when it's not true. And you see it all the time on Facebook, and you see it all the time in both right-wing and left-wing extremists.
Yeah.
Because again, any version of extreme is bad.
Yeah.
And so that couple was so incensed by that media, and it's what perpetuated their involvement in this right-winged whatever. And I feel like that's also what happened in this case, with not only them kind of falling into the Aryan / neo-Nazi / whatever, but also what happened after the standoff, because then all it did was fuel the fire for the right-wing extremists, who then used Ruby Ridge to, and then used Waco, and then used Oklahoma City, and then used all these things to develop this propaganda.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my know all the facts. And also know the news outlets from which you're getting your information.
Yeah.
Is it salacious news? And does the story match up with the headline? And are you just reading the headline?
Right.
Because that is not the story.
Right.
It's a headline to grab your attention. It's not the whole story. And usually it's not the story at all.
Yeah, it's clickbait.
Exactly. So I guess know the facts. But if you are an extremist in either way, right or left, you're not.
You say facts, fuck them.
Yeah.
Just like the Homance Chronicles.
Exactly. Okay. Number 2. Don't fuck with shit. Don't fuck with the government. Don't fuck with extremists. Don't fuck with a Ouija board. And don't fuck with the demon named Zulu. I'm just kidding. I don't know his name. Zozo.
Why do you make me say it so many times?
Because it's like your Beetlejuice.
He gonna
It's,
come
you know what
find
it is?
me.
You know what it is? It's my payback for Robert, the painting, the Black-Eyed Kids.
Why do you have to keep listing them out this episode?
Well, because you did it to me. So I'm making you say Zazu so that you... Zozo. I had to say it 3 times. Now you're going to think of Bloody Mary every time you walk in the bathroom.
God. Guess I won't peeing anymore tonight. Guess I won't peeing.
I guess I won't peeing. Just don't poke the bear.
Number 3, learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to make the mistake that other people did. You don't have to, like you said, if they would have learned from this, Waco might not have happened.
On both sides.
Yeah.
The extremists, but also, the government should have learned their lesson. There should have been, well, one day I'm going to do Waco and we're going to go on all this too.
But that also, you don't have to go looking for Zozo.
He's out there. He's good. Quit fucking with him.
Yes. Learn from Darren's mistake. Learn from the people on Reddit. Listen to the story. Get scared, and then don't do it.
Don't try it.
Yeah. Make other mistakes. Don't
try
life or death mistakes.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes.
So, that goes for everything.
Yes. Live in a bubble. Just stay at home and listen to our podcast.
It's true. Well, also, sorry, I mentioned this to Kerri earlier, but mistakes and stuff. Also, don't feel pressured. Because I know I'm joking about doing the Ouija board, but like I said, I would never just do it with me and Kerri or me and anyone. It would have to be legit set up, trust everything. But if you're younger or whatever, and all your friends are around and y'all want to do the Ouija board and all that, if you don't want to, don't.
And if they're the people who are forcing you and making you feel like shit because you don't want to do something, then fuck them.
Yes.
Because you don't need that kind of negativity in your life.
Right. And so why I say this is because there was a girl that got pushed off a bridge by her friend, and it was peer pressured into jumping and then she didn't want to jump anyway. But it's like, that girl got seriously hurt.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter any of that. It's like, don't give in to that peer pressure. And this, again, why I can't be a parent, because I'm like, don't do it. Don't, blah, blah, blah. But don't. Be your own person. Do your own thing. And it, like Kerri said, if they don't understand it and they don't respect your boundaries and stuff, fuck them. Come over to our Creepster community. We will love and accept you, and we won't make you do anything.
Except subscribe, review.
Yes. Rate us on iTunes. Review us on iTunes. It really does help.
And remember,
creep it real and don't get scared.